Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ask Warble show, the advice series which is going to help you book your entertainment, whether it's for your wedding, your corporate event, your party, no matter what it is, we've got you covered. And this week we're back with Matt.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good. So we had you in last time. We covered quite a lot of different bits and bobs, didn't we?
Yep, we certainly did. Did.
And we've got some more today. And if you guys have any questions that you want to send in, that you want us to cover, use the hashtag AskWarble or leave a comment down below and we'll feature it in a video. So today we're going to be covering such things as festival weddings, which I know is a really in thing at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at, or if you're thinking about doing something like that, stick around. So we're going to cover all the facets of how to actually set one up and all the things involved in it. And we're going to be looking at kind of managing your budget. We know that that's kind of a big thing for your wedding, and how to allocate more of your budget towards your entertainment. So let's get started. A few of the questions we've had that I've noticed, a lot of people, I don't know whether it's because they're really excited that they're getting married or it's just an in thing, but they want kind of a bit of everything on the day. Do you find that a lot?
It's a daily thing. Mm-hmm. We see it all the time, and it's great. It's really, really nice to see that people, they're either newly engaged or they're newly sort of planning the wedding or party or whatever, and they'll come to our website, which has got so much stuff on it. And literally, it'll be a case of, I want that, 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 and then they go through everything. And there's some crazy stuff on there, and it's all really, really cool. Random things, balloon modelers, living tables, living statues, dancers, sure. And people, people don't do it very often, plan a wedding. Yeah. And so it's the case of you want to make it as good as possible. And it's really cool. It's really nice to see people excited, but I do have to be the bad guy quite a lot.
No,
I do have to rein people in a little bit, and I'm not saying don't look at all these ideas, don't go for everything, but don't be offended when someone tells you to calm down.
Sure,
I think is a way of putting it.
So what will most often happen? Somebody will come to you and then they'll kind of have a clear idea of what they want, or do you think it's because they don't quite know what they want? They're saying, oh, I could have this, and I could have this, and I could have that. So it's more of you getting an idea of what they like.
Yeah, definitely, and it helps as a sort of an entertainment coordinator. It helps us figure out what the customer's looking for, what the bride's looking for. Usually the bride at this point, not in any way trying to say that it is, but it's, they're the ones that often sort of get the first sort of, look around for stuff, and come up with the ideas. And it gives us an indication of, right, okay, so if they've gone for a lot of circusy things, let's say they want a juggler and a fire entertainer.
You're starting to get an impression of what they're like as a person, maybe getting a vision of what their wedding's going to be like from your perspective as well, and see if you can kind of facilitate.
Definitely, and sort of, we can advise as well and explain what often works well and what the reality is when it comes to the day and how it all works and comes together.
Do you suppose that in terms of like other facets of the wedding, when it comes to maybe them sorting out their food or their venue, they will go through similar things anyway when they're trying to throw all these ideas out? Or do you think it's a little bit different for entertainment because it's such a different thing that people aren't familiar with, that you have to really start to make it real for them?
I think entertainment is probably the most alien concept for somebody to organise.
Yeah.
Food, all right, no one's sort of regularly catered for 100 people,
People eat every day, but no one sees a band every day.
Yeah, well, this is it. And people, they know what they like, they've had an idea about the food, and I'm sure they try lots of ideas and lots of different things, but ultimately there's one, maybe two sort of meals in the day, and that's it.
Yeah.
And people will go like lots of different ideas, but entertainment, there's so many stages of the day and there's so many things you can have at different stages of the day, and I think sometimes people are just like, wow, we want all this, we want that, and loads of things.
Do you think that the fact that there's so much choice out there, and there is like a crazy amount of choice, and nowadays because weddings are so different, you can really make it your own and go all out and have all these crazy things, do you think that makes it more difficult for you or more important for you to have to rein in those expectations sometimes, because the typical wedding band almost doesn't exist anymore because there's so many different types?
Yeah, definitely. And it's not just bands. I think people want to be unique.
Sure.
Everyone wants their wedding to be the wedding of the year that all their friends talk about and things like that. And not, throwing everything at the wedding, doing loads of things isn't always the right thing to do. It's a good thing to have lots of ideas, but then the reality's got to kick in at some point, and you sort of figure out, what you can afford is a big thing, and people are often surprised at the cost of these more unusual acts.
Cool. So on that, I mean, why do you think that is, that people don't kind of fully understand how much their entertainment or their band might cost?
Well, again, we've already said people don't do it every day.
Sure.
People don't book it every day. And often, a big one that I always get is dancers. Mm-hmm. This comes up every single day, and people think, right, I want a flash mob. That's the big one, flash mob. And they are a brilliant idea. When a flash mob's pulled off well, it's really, really cool.
There's something about the surprise element of entertainment. So, you know, you're talking about being unique and standing out. If you're able to hold a secret and not tell your friends and family, I know I cannot do this. Like, if I knew that something was going to happen at the wedding or something, I would be telling everyone, and then I would totally blow it. But if you can hold a secret, that's a huge way to be able to stand out, right?
Definitely. And I think, you know, again, the flash mob idea, the idea, and often it's the first dance. People don't like the idea of a first dance and being on their own.
Sure.
So they'll say, oh, I've got this idea that there's going to be 8, 9, 10 people there as guests, and then when we start the first dance, they're going to appear and they're going to start dancing.
Okay.
Now, brilliant idea, amazing idea. It would look really, really cool. But the reality is, each one of those dancers is going to want at least £200 to £250. Mm-hmm. So do the maths. We're looking at £2,500 at least for a 5-minute dance. And and people often then think, well, they're only dancing for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you're not paying for 5 minutes of time. You're paying for more than that, and you're paying for, you know, the travelling and stuff as well.
There's of course a lot involved. You know, yes, they've got to travel, they've got to get there, they've got to sort out the logistics. They've got to be trained dancers. Mm-hmm. You know, they've got to do all of these things.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it's just a 5-minute dance, but you know, these dancers could get any booking anywhere, so they're not going to say, oh well, as it's just 5 minutes, we'll do it.
Yeah, well, on our way to else, we'll stop off and...
Of course, yeah. Minutes. So it is a brilliant idea, and there are ways of doing it cheaper, you know, but if you want professional dancers, it's just be prepared. And we're not the ones that sort of set the fee. We're not the bad guys, you know. Yeah. You know, it's just we will abide.
I suppose it's about, you know, what value you can put on that 5 minutes. You know, you're talking about, you want your wedding or event to be the one that people remember or talk about for ages. Just because it's as short as a few minutes, that few minutes is going to be something that everyone's talking about for months and months.
It will be, yeah. It will be a case of, you know, do you remember so-and-so's wedding there? You know, we weren't expecting it, and then all these dancers appeared, and it was an amazing moment, you know, and
photo opportunities, and that will kind of live on
definitely, and it will make it unique. Mm-hmm. You know, that's it.
Cool. Going on with the budget then, what are the things you have to do to kind of make sure that people are getting kind of realistic outlook on what the entertainment will cost? Do you find that a lot of people, I know we talked about it, will assume that it's going to be cheaper than it is, but what else do you cover?
Again, it's explaining and outlining what's involved. I think a key thing, and another one is bands. You know, if a band are only playing for 2 hours, people feel that the price they command is quite high.
Sure.
And it's not. It's a fair price. You know, again, they've got to travel. Mm-hmm. A band will usually arrive about 5 o'clock, and then they'll lug all the heavy gear in there. They could have been travelling for 2-3 hours beforehand to get there.
Yeah.
They'll set their gear up. They'll they'll put on some background music. They'll have everything set up. They'll wait around, and I know they're getting paid to wait around, but you know, they've got to wait around. They can't be anywhere else, and then they'll perform and give you the performance of their lifetime.
I suppose the other thing with that is that they might have tailored part of their set, or they've spoken to you before the wedding, so like learning songs specifically for you and things like that.
That's it. I mean, I've only talked about the standard, you know.
That's so exactly. There's so many extras and stuff that they put on top, so them playing for that 2 hours isn't just what you're getting. You're getting so much more.
And it's just fun. I don't like to use it too often, but I do often say, if you were to hire 4 or 5 plumbers for a full day's work, you know, if you look at the cost of what that would be, it's going to be the same as a band.
Cool. Okay. With the budget then, is there anything that we can do to kind of help people? So, you know, they might want to book a band or book entertainment for their evening, but, you know, they might not have allocated as much as they might have originally thought, or are there ways around that?
I will always work with someone on their budget. And all of our sort of, you know, guys will. And I regularly will ask a customer, a couple, what your budget is, and people are often very cagey. It's like, oh well, you give me the price and you tell me. We've got entertainment that fits every budget. you know, and it's all out there. You know, you can have a band at one price and you can have a bigger band for a lot more. And the same with every sort of aspect of entertainment. So if I say to a potential customer, what are you prepared to spend? It's not so that if they say 1,500, I send them a band for 14.99. It's a case of, right, so that's what you're looking at. I'm not going to send them something that's over that price unless I think it's a little bit over and it's perfect.
Really like perfect for them or whatever.
Exactly, you know, and we will discuss it. We regularly get, and again we're referring to bands, but somebody wants a band for £500 because they know a band that's played at the local pub and they get £300. It's a common thing to hear, and I understand where people are coming from, but a professional full-time wedding band you won't get for that.
You get what you pay for, don't you?
But we've got some amazing duos.
Yeah, sure.
You know, we've got some really cool duos or solo acts that can be lively, and again, it's where being honest about your budget helps. You're not going to get ripped off.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
You're going to be helped to sort of fit in with that. You know.
Do you think that, in terms of budget for their entertainment, that people might not allocate enough budget for their entertainment, or may leave it too late? So it's not in the forefront of their mind when they're organising an event or wedding. So they might think, oh, I need this much for the venue, I need this much for the food, I need this much for whatever else. And it's like, oh, I haven't sorted out my entertainment yet and I've only got this much left. Do you think it should be the other way around?
Here's a reality check. Everyone will spend more than they want to spend at their wedding.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as that.
Yeah, tell us one person who stayed within budget.
You know,
we'd love to meet them.
Yeah, please send them our way, and we want some help. You know, but it's, you know, everyone will spend a little bit more than their budget. And yes, I think by looking at all the other things and leaving the band till last minute, guess what? Everyone wants to spend £1,000 on a band and no more. Yeah. Everyone wants, not everyone, but most people want a 3-piece band that play a bit of something for everyone. They're not an old fuddy-duddy band, you know, they are sort of an upbeat, young, lively band. That's what everyone wants. There's only so many of them out there, you know, and so people that look at far ahead and book those bands get the choice of those bands. They get the ones that are the better price for them in their area and the ones that fit within their budget.
Sure.
As it gets closer to the date, there's fewer or none of them available, and that's when you've got to start looking elsewhere, looking at other options, and that's when you might find that you slip over your budget. Okay. But like I say, the reality is everyone says £1,000. That's what I'm looking at spending. I don't know where they get that from.
It's just a figure. We've talked about this before in another video, but we talked about the fact that once you've booked your entertainment that far in advance, it really allows you to hone in on other parts of your wedding and start to plan around your entertainment instead of doing it the other way around. And that flow that you can have in your day will really kind of work better if you do it that way around.
There's definitely, I mean, you'll have a theme in mind, you'll have an idea on what you want to do, but it will evolve and change over time.
And your entertainment will enhance that theme. If not, your entertainment almost is the theme. Because say if you're having a rock and roll theme for your wedding, you need a rock and roll band, otherwise it's not going to happen.
It's funny you mentioned that. I've had people in the past, they say, I'm having a rock and roll theme wedding, and that was rock and roll. I'm having a 50s rock and roll theme wedding. I need a 3-piece rock and roll band for £1,500. And it was in 2 months' time.
Sure.
And it was a popular date. And guess what? You know, they're all booked. They're not available. Yeah. And so then they were in this real situation where they got a rock and roll theme wedding with no rock and roll band.
Sure.
And it became very stressful. You know, and so I think there's certain facets of the day that need to be done first to make sure that it all falls into place.
I suppose the other way around, that if you don't have a theme and you're struggling to think of, how can we set up our wedding? What kind of theme do we want? Do we want it to be romantic or a winter theme? If you look at your entertainment first and you think, there's some great acts out there that are kind of folky or whatever, and you can start to run that theme and think, okay, this is the theme that we're going for because we booked this band.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
we booked this entertainment.
Yeah, I think that's it. People will base a theme around the venue or their entertainment, and I think that's a good, almost working backwards.
Yeah.
Making sure everything fits together.
Exactly. Okay, cool. We talked about this in the intro, and it's something that we definitely want to cover. It's the in thing right now.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
The in thing. So, festival weddings. People love a festival.
Everyone loves a festival. This country is mad about festivals.
I like to think that because of the age group that are kind of starting to get married now, the festival thing was such a big thing when they were growing up that it's almost like a nostalgia type thing, and they want to kind of relive. Maybe they might have met at a festival or something like that.
Definitely, or certainly spent time together at a festival.
Sure, yeah.
But I also think a big side of it is there's lots of wedding venues, and if somebody can find a field or a barn or something like that, it's got that rustic, cool sort of feel, and then they think, well, let's make it a festival.
It's no surprise then that it's the kind of thing to go for. But with that crops up a lot of questions and a lot of kind of things that we have to figure out. So, organising a festival wedding, what are the things that we need to start looking at if we're organising a festival?
I think, well, I organise a festival as well. Mm-hmm. And organising a festival is really, really stressful and a lot of work. Organising a wedding can be stressful and can be a lot of work.
So once you smash the two together, you've got a big ball of stress that can be kind of difficult to manage, I suppose.
I feel that we could almost be negative about this, but I don't want us to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yes, you're right. If somebody says, I want to have 5 bands playing at my wedding and I want to have it all outside and I have this going on, I have that going on. Let's not mention budget, but again, that's going to be an issue. Mm-hmm. The logistics of having 5 bands on a stage isn't as simple as the band turning up, plugging in and playing.
Sure.
You need to look at like a production team, you need a staging, you need a PA system, because bands will provide a PA system, bands will come with a PA system, but that PA system is set up for them.
Okay, yeah.
Not for 5 bands all to use throughout the day. So yeah, if you want to have 5 bands on, brilliant. I want to come to your wedding.
Thing is, we love that kind of thing. We love that when people do that, and these are the kind of times where we're like, yes, this is awesome.
It's
Go
really
for
cool.
It. Send us an invite.
But be aware, you are going to have to prepare a few more things, and it's not stressful. It's not it's not scary. It's just be aware.
Okay.
That if you can get a production team in. And production team sounds really grand. I'm talking about a guy with a PA system and that knows what they're doing. They can set up the sound, and then the band can come in and do their bits and pieces throughout, and you can have different sections. Cool. But be aware that you are going to have to pay the full fee for the 5 bands.
Sure. Yeah.
They could be booked out anywhere on that evening, so they're not going to say, oh well, we're only playing for an hour at this venue. We'll do it at a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
They can't get a booking elsewhere.
Okay.
What a lot of people do and works really well is perhaps have some bands or acts early on that are maybe local acts that don't do that thing all the time.
Okay,
still really good.
To kind of support acts just to like set the vibe of the day and just get things moving. And
an acoustic singer-songwriter early on will do 45 minutes, something like that, and build it up. That's going to help spread your budget across the day and make things work in that sense. Another option, which I think is probably the best option and most realistic option in that situation, is a band that can offer different things.
Sure.
So a band that can do a full-on electric set, and the cool thing at the moment is the Mumford & Sons style. Mm-hmm. And so they might be able to do a full electric set last. Before that, they can do like a Mumford & Sons.
Well, if you're doing a festival wedding, then you kind of want that kind of vibe.
Yeah, and I think often that is what people mean when they say they want a festival type. They're looking at the Mumford & Sons. They want a banjo. They want a double bass. It's really cool.
So not quite download or
no. Well, this is it.
They're waiting for that
one. We've had some heavy rocky weddings,
cool.
Which are cool.
It's
really cool.
I love it. I love that you're starting to see more of the alternative type of things, and it's more of a get together and more of a community type thing with your friends and family instead of the traditional.
I think the age thing again is what you mentioned before, that a lot of people getting married are sort of around the 30 sort of age.
Sure.
Give or take, either way. And I think more and more people around that age, they grew up on Oasis, on Blur, on the 90s music, on the Killers.
That's the thing that we love, that when you guys are calling up or whatever, we're dealing with music lovers as well, like
definitely,
ourselves.
Yeah.
So we can feel that when you're coming through. We want to kind of enable that and help you get this going. And when a festival wedding works, it can be an amazing thing.
Definitely. And it's you tend to find that all your friends are in the same sort of. They've got the same sort of vibe and the same enjoyment.
Sure.
So it's out in the sunshine, fingers crossed. It's out in the sunshine.
No one gets alienated in that kind of environment, do they?
No.
Whereas I know some weddings at some points might feel a bit kind of stuffy and uncomfortable and things if it's really traditional and set in their ways. But once you start,
hands up, I hate going to a wedding in a suit. That's the typical wedding. Everyone's going to wear a suit and tie.
I mean, if you can turn up in your shorts and sandals and your Ray-Bans,
festival hat,
then you're going to be golden, aren't you? That's the dream. That's the real dream. Cool. Okay. So, would you say, just to sum up with the festival wedding, just to kind of make it easier for yourself, maybe not take everything on yourself and speak to someone like you, an agent who can really kind of facilitate that?
Again, it's take all the advice you can and don't be offended when you're sort of reined in a little bit. You know, and I don't want it to sound like we go around sort of, you know, stomping on people's ideas. That's not at all. We sort of we make it manageable.
I can imagine you on a beach just kicking over sandcastles.
I don't want that to be the case. It really, really isn't. It's just, you know, we do this every day. You know, we speak to people every day. We do help everyone out, and you know, we book. I forget what the latest figure is. It's thousands of weddings.
We want it to work as much as you do, because knowing that that's going on and that we help to make that happen is an amazing thing.
I always ask for an invite.
A cheeky invite. Well, now you guys know, if you're organising something cool, we're here.
Bring us along. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So, talking about if we want to speak to someone like you, if we needed some help with booking, you know, a wedding or anything, we would look to be booking through an agency, and a lot of the time the fees, if you're going through an agency, might be a little bit more. Why should we be paying that little bit extra to book through an agency?
I think we've touched on this before briefly, but it's the case that you know, ultimately, yes, you can book entertainment direct, and you know, there are a lot of acts out there that will deal with it really, really well, and they'll look after you and they'll take care of everything. By booking through ourselves, yes, of course, we don't do it for nothing. You know, we've got a fee on top, but we take care of the whole thing. Not only do we guide people like we've discussed, but also along the process, you know, we can deal with everything along the way. I hate to talk about it, but if something goes wrong, you know, we can deal with it. You know, you've got so many things to organise, you've got so many things to sort out. If you hear that your caricaturist or your magician is ill, you don't want that stress. A few days, but we take care of it. You know, we will deal with it. We'll step in. We'll find an alternative act. We've got the contact. We've got a contact number for 24 hours a day. You know, so we can help sort that thing out. If something isn't what you expected or quite what you anticipated, we can deal with that and take care of the issues. But also, by coming through ourselves, we only send out acts that we know are amazing.
Sure. So even acts that we might have even seen ourselves sometimes, and you know, they've all been vetted and gone through a procedure to make sure that they have all the relevant, you know, details and documentation, all stuff that you might not know to check yourself, because you wouldn't know what documents that you need or things.
Why would you? We've got a team of guys that find all these acts and make sure that they're all of a high standard and they're professional and they're, you know, they're doing everything correctly. So if we send anybody out, we're 100% certain that they're going to do the job perfectly.
And if
peace of mind, you know.
I think the thing to bear in mind is that a lot of people might have a different idea of this, but an agency like ourselves, it's not like a Yellow Pages. We're not just a database or a list of bands that exist. There's way more to it than that. And I guess what you were saying is the fact when you call up, you get to speak to an expert and someone who knows what they're doing, someone who's kind of been there before, seen it, and has dealt with similar, you know, inquiries before, right?
Yeah, and we take a lot of work off a customer, off a couple. You know, I think that there's a whole process of an inquiry that is not often seen.
Sure.
So let's say, for example, you inquired into a band.
Okay, I'll call you up.
Okay.
So ring. Hi.
Hi, how you doing? You okay?
Oh, I like your phone.
It's old school phone.
Okay, so let's say, hi Matt, I'm getting married next year. I'm not getting married next year, but if I was getting married next year, this is what I do. So I'm getting married next year, and Matt, I want a band for my wedding. Do you think you can help me out?
I certainly can. No
Sure.
problem at all. So first of all, I'm not going to role play anymore, by the way. Just so you know,
we've done that.
I would want to know if there's a particular band that you like, or if there's a style that you like.
Okay.
And I would recommend what I feel are the most popular. You know, if you don't know which band that you want, I would look at the most popular, the most successful, the ones that I use regularly that I know are amazing.
Do you get people that call up and they haven't looked at the bands on the site yet? So they're just phoning up and they just kind of want to know what's going on.
People want us to do a lot of the work, which is what we're here for. Again, you know, it's and I enjoy those kind of inquiries. You know, it's like, right, brilliant, and I will ask a few questions. You know, what kind of music you like. I often ask because people never know what their favourite artist is or their favourite song, or you know, people I don't know what was the last thing you listened to. You know, and just to get a feel of what people like. And then, let's say, I'll send over a few options. Now, I think it's really important at this stage, from your point of view, that if someone sends you 3 options, you might not like them all. That's fine. That's not a problem at all.
Sure.
I'm not in the band. I'm not going to be offended,
But then if they come back and say, I didn't like those, whatever, at least you know.
Yeah.
And then you can be like, okay, cool, we'll look at this instead then.
The most, I think that, I'd probably say the most valuable thing you take out of this whole video that we've come across now is give us your feedback. Tell us, well, I kind of like that band, but I didn't like this. Or I don't like that band because I don't like this.
The more honest you are, the more appropriate the entertainment is going to be for you or your personality or your wedding.
And it will help us. If you can come back and say, I don't like this, but I do like that. Awesome. We will then go and look at another selection of bands. Mm-hmm. Now, every time we do that, we are checking that the band are available. So we're only sending options of bands that are available. Cool. It's not a case of just going, here's some more bands.
What about things like sending bands that are suitable for their budget, like in location-wise? So say if they're getting married in London, you're not going to go and look at bands that are based in Glasgow.
Of course not, yeah. We don't want to be sending our bands too far, because it's going to cost more. Sure. And also, the bands don't want to be driving 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours to get to a gig and then do that. So we try and keep it local. We will try and keep within the budget you've suggested. We will try and keep to the genre that you've suggested. But like I say, music's so subjective. Yeah. We don't always get it right. That's a fact. But come back to us, let us know, and we'll look into other options. I don't like to say don't, but I would advise not to just say, send me a list of bands that are available.
Sure. So, say for example, I rank up again and I say, hey, I'm getting married next year. My date's July 21st. Can you send me all the bands that are free then? Why would you not do that?
Well, again, we have a diary. We have a calendar of all the bands that we've got. But, a lot of that is, it's updated by the bands themselves, by the acts themselves. Not just bands, it's anything at all. We're here to sort of look after that. And sometimes, the acts might not update their calendar. Okay, so if we were to send you a list, if I say, right, here's all the acts that are available according to my calendar.
It would be a big list.
It would be a big list, and you went, oh, well, I really like them. Cool. They're not available. And you get frustrated with the whole process. So we will check that an act are available directly, so we will have actual confirmation from the act that they are available for that date. Sure. And that location, they're happy to perform.
So when you go back to the couple or the customer, you can be like, okay, these guys are free, and they can actually play your wedding. Do you want to go ahead?
That's it.
Etc.
And here's another tip: if a band lands in front of you and they are perfect, don't hang around, because that band will be popular and they will have been sent to other people. And it's a really common thing that people sort of, I really like this act, but I'm going to carry on looking just in case something else comes up. And then they wait another week, 2 weeks. They find another band that, they're not quite as good as that first band. So they call me up and say, Matt, I really want to book that band. He said, no, they're not available anymore. Because if they're at the top of my list, they're going out to more than one person. Sure. And there's so many weddings and events happening every day in this country. Mm-hmm. You're not the only person getting married on the 29th of July.
Yeah, I mean, we want you to have your first choice, definitely, because that's the one that you really want. Mm-hmm. So definitely snatch it up. I think the thing with sending out, a massive list of acts that are available on that one day, the thing is that we have so many different acts, so many different bands of different genres. So if we sent you, 1,000 bands that are available on July 21st, half of them are going to be Motown bands or jazz bands or soul bands. You might get some reggae bands in there, some pop rock, folk bands. If you tell us, what you want, then we can send you the appropriate.
I mean, even if I sent you a list of all the rock pop bands that are available on a particular date, you'll get fed up after about number 5 or 6.
Sure.
And you're not even a fraction of the way through. So, but that's kind of what we do anyway. We will send you the most popular, the ones that we feel suit. Cool. Save you time.
Okay, well that's it for today. Matt, thanks again for joining us. That was some really useful info. Again, if you guys have any questions that you want to send us about, and maybe anything we've talked about today, we talked about the festival weddings, there's so much we can cover on that. And if you're thinking of booking one, let us know and we can help you out. Or if you have any questions, use the Ask Warble hashtag, or again, leave a comment down below and we will feature it in a video.
Or call us up.
Give us a ring.
Call us up. Phone. It's like I'm on a voting programme.
Phone. You can actually physically talk to us for realsies. So go ahead and do that. And we'll catch you next time on Ask Warble. Take care.